Hello, Chris from My Stamp Lady. I'm so glad you're here to stamp with me. So today I'm doing an emboss resist technique with the Christmas Pine stamp set. This is just a beautiful Christmas set. I just really love it with the colors, cherry cobbler and garden green like I'm using today. So to first start off, I'm going to do my background piece. And I'm using a piece of shimmer white. It's really hard to capture the shimmer on film, but this has got a little shimmery texture, a little shimmery background to this cardstock. So I'm going to be stamping this pine image in Versamark onto this white cardstock and embossing it in white powder. And as you can guess, that's going to be rather difficult to see. But when you do the painting over it, it just pops out and is just absolutely gorgeous. So I'm going to start by inking up the image in Versamark. And then we'll stamp it. Let's stamp it right there. And I am going to actually, I prefer to do each one individually, meaning that I like to emboss each image, then stamp the next one because you can see it a little bit better, and then I don't run the risk of wrecking my embossing or my Versamark stamped image. So flick off any extra powder, and I think you can see the powder there. So now it's time to heat set that. Okay, so I've got the first one heat set on there, so I'm going to repeat this 2 more times. Okay, so let's see. You can see that I have my pines embossed on there with the Whisper White. It's kind of hard to see, but you can get your reflection there. So the next step is to take an aqua painter, and I take my ink and press it onto the lid so I get a splotch of ink on the top there, and with the aqua painter I pull some of that ink over. I'm going to pull this up here for a second so you see. I kind of pull it from the concentrated area, and then I water it down so it's not quite so concentrated. You can always grab more. And then I just went over the pine areas with my ink and the aqua painter. You can see that area where it's embossed, it resisted the ink, so I'm just going to take a piece of Kleenex or toweling and wipe that off. I kind of spread the ink together in the areas where it came close together. To add a bit more shimmer to the green paint part, I went over that with the Wink of Stella. Add a little more shimmer. I think you can catch some of that shimmer that is there from the Wink of Stella. So now I'm going to set this piece aside to dry and work on a couple of the other parts. Another piece of the shimmery white cardstock, and I am inking up this frame image, and we'll stamp that onto that piece. There we go. And in the center I have 'Tis the Season, so I will ink that up with cherry cobbler and stamp that in the center. There we go. And then the next step was I took my scissors and I cut that piece out. To save some time, I cut one out ahead of time. So this is just that frame piece stamped in garden green with cherry cobbler. I also took a piece of cherry cobbler, 1 1/4 by 3 7/8 inch. I ran this through the Big Shot with the sparkle embossing folder to get that pattern in that paper. So if your cardstock has a little curve like this to it, you can heat it from the other side. And sometimes watercoloring and embossing will do that. Get that little curve into your cardstock, and that will flatten it out. Okay, so let's put down my embossed piece. Because of the watercolor and the embossing, I put down quite a bit of adhesive on the back side of this. And I'm matting it onto a piece of garden green cardstock. All of the measurements are available in a downloadable PDF on my blog at mystamplady.com. And then before I put this down to the card front, there it is. Oh, I'll poke it all up. Before I put this down to the card front, I'm going to take a piece of the garden green baker's twine, wrap that around twice, and tie a bow over on the side here. And I can mount this to the card front. Now with this piece I took dimensionals and I cut along this bottom edge here, my scissors. I cut along the bottom edge to get some smaller dimensionals because I want them just at the top and the bottom. So like along there. Oh, I went a little bit over. There we go. And then place this just on the card front here. And those dimensionals set it up over the baker's twine on the top there. So now I thought, well, for the inside I want to add a piece of Whisper White cardstock as a white writing surface. Add a bit down here in the front of my, or the inside, for the inside of my card. I took and stamped the pines image. And then I'm stamping one of the pine cone images in Early Espresso. And this is just going to add a little bit of stamping to my inside. And we'll just place that in there. There you go. If you have any questions about what I've done, don't hesitate to contact me, Chris at mystamplady.com. All of these supplies are available in my online store at shopwithmystamplady.com, and you can find a printable PDF at mystamplady.com. Thanks a lot for stamping with me today.